Hey, welcome back to Real Talk with me, Nick. Keeping you guys company, keeping you guys entertained all the way until 5 p.m. And yeah, we were talking about a lot of things, what's happening in the UK. We spoke about the COP26. We spoke about how, Prince William is talking about climate change and how he's trying to address the issue at hand and a lot of things. And one of the things, that I wanted to highlight today was the conversation we had about the Northern Ireland's riots, and how people and the police are saying that 19 officers have been injured in last night's violence. So yeah, that's just something that happened yesterday night on Thursday, bringing the number hunt in a week of violence across the Northern Ireland to 74. So yeah, police deployed water cannons for the first time in 6 years after coming under attack again in Belfast. The crowds rioted on both sides of that gate that separates a loyalists area and a nationalist area in West Belfast. And there was a lot, there's these petrol bombs, fireworks, and stones were again used to attack police who have been facing rising disorder since the 29th of March. And it's just pandemonium. It's just crazy. And like I said, there's a lot of this violence going on right now there, and how people are, just it's people are out of control. People are out in the streets and they are inciting these violence. And one of the assistant chief constable, Jonathan Roberts, said that on Thursday that there was sustained violence directed towards police officers on both sides of the interface over a period of hours. And he said that the majority of injuries to officers were to hearing due to fireworks being detonated close to them. And one female officer suffered a broken bone in her foot. It is, it's terrible for something like this to happen, to even be injuring the workforce, especially with all this restriction going on and the government and all the public servants facing the burden of the COVID-19 virus. For people to incite violence right now of all times is just thoughtless, and it's terrible. And the Northern Ireland Secretary Brandon Lewis has spoken to Stuman's political leaders to discuss the latest night of disorder and violence in Belfast. So the five main party leaders were on the call, along with Simon Bryan, the Chief Constable of the Police Services of Northern Ireland. So basically, all these politicians reiterated their support for the police and agreed to hold further discussions about bringing to an end. So some separate meeting for him and Coveney on a Friday. So that was today. And yeah, curbs and bollards were ripped up. Their reminiscent to weapons. Police responded by regularly firing their water cannon, but the soaking didn't seem to stop many of the rioters. So yeah, on the nationalist Springfield roadside, police Land Rovers moved up towards the rioters, weaving their way through the traffic, which was basically stuck in the road for a couple of hours. So yeah, police came under attack too in the Shankill Road area from petrol bombs and stone throwers. And a few people from the community a few wanted to speak up, but at the same time they were very reluctant and very hesitant. So after midnight the streets were largely clear, but people, and a lot of them, were feeling a fresh and familiar sense of worry that could be renewed potentially for more disorder, more disruption, and more destruction. Taking a look at all this, it's vandalism at its finest right here. This is what they're doing there. All these people are inciting this violence, destroying public property, injuring the police force and the people around them as well. So this recent disorder began with all of these petrol bombs and sporadic attacks in a number of these loyalist areas, but the unrest spread to a Belfast interface. So yeah, that's crazy. So on Wednesday night, the fighting escalated into the sectarian clashes over a so-called peace wall in West Belfast. So yeah, these crowds attacked police, each other at the junctions of Landmark Way, off the mainly loyalist Shankill Road and the mainly nationalist Springfield Road as well. So the peace wall divides predominantly Protestant loyalists who are in favor of keeping Northern Ireland as part of the United Kingdom from the predominantly Catholic nationalists who want to see a united Ireland. So yeah, a gate that divides the two communities was smashed open, and after several hours of disorder, police officers and a press photographer were attacked, and a bus was hijacked and burned. Like I said, this is just it's a terrible crime these people are doing, and burning up all of this and breaking the walls and all that. And on Thursday night, the SDLP councillor Paul Doherty joined a number of political, community, and youth representatives on the Springfield Road after crowds of youths gathered in the area. And he said in an interview that we stood at the main interface youths at gate at Lanark Way, and they attempted to breach the gate several times. But when it was clear that they weren't going to gain access into this area, they proceeded to attack police further up the Springfield Road. He also added, from being on the ground last night and trying to engage with these young people, I'm also noticing that they're coming from all over Belfast, really to be involved in these acts of violence. I mean, all of this is just super deplorable. I mean, you shouldn't even be doing something like this. And the Sinn Féin councillor Claire Canavan said it was the actions of the previous night that brought the young people out on the streets onto the Springfield Road. And I would appeal for calm going forward into the weekend. So yeah, they're saying about all of this, something like all of this is happening, and the disorder essentially began last week in the loyalist area of Northern Ireland. It was linked to this decision, not to prosecute a lot of these Sinn Féin leaders for breaching their COVID regulations at June, and the tension over the Irish was a result of the UK EU Brexit deal, and this is also because there's a lot of rising tension the Northern Ireland, and because of this, a lot of the youth also, they got riled up and started attacking, and it was just crazy. It's pandemonium, if you really look at it. And the group, this paramilitary groups has said none of them have been involved directly or indirectly in any of the recent street disorder in parts of Northern Ireland. But the Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin spoke on Thursday and called for a calming of tensions. The U.S. has also appealed for calm, with the White House saying it was concerned by the violence. So there's a tweet on Thursday night by Justice Minister Naomi Long, who said it was utterly reckless and depressing to see more violence at the interface areas tonight. So yeah, she essentially says, my heart goes out to the living area, especially to those people who are living there with this fear and disturbance. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, even Boris Johnson wrote on social media, even writing on social media, Labour shadows Northern Ireland Secretary Louise Haig called on Prime Minister Boris Johnson to urgently rebuild trust that he has squandered in Northern Ireland. So that is, another topic that they were talking about. And a lot of these attacks, especially from this time, from these nationalist youths, it's just reckless and depressing. I mean, that's essentially what Naomi Long has been saying. And, she says that this is like a lot of lives are being lost right now. And that is an important matter at hand for people to watch out and to make sure, like this is not the time to be fighting. This is not the time to be divided, especially when we have issues, more pressing issues. What with, the coronavirus and the vaccine rollouts and all of that. And we trying to get the country back stable. It just looks like it's just getting worse with situations like look at it from another standpoint, another point of view. When you look at Northern Ireland, the issues that is pressing it. I mean, there's a lot of politics involved into this, and yeah, there's a lot of these reasons why these people are very angry. And at the same time, I feel like there is an agenda to this, and a lot of these youth, especially, are being brainwashed and being brainwashed into doing something like this and committing these horrendous crimes and destroying public property, vandalizing and injuring and throwing stones and petrol bombs to the police. I mean, think about it. To be attacking people like that, it's just crazy. The amount of hate that is channeled here, and it is disappointing. Also, I really wish they could find another way to handle this, but then the way it just looks like it's going to keep getting more violent as time goes by. Hopefully it doesn't, though. Hopefully they can call into action and make sure that they can suppress the amount of fueled hate and anger right now in Northern Ireland. We can only hope for as much, but with that, we are going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back after this. And checking your time right now, it is 4:36. Good evening.